All right, episode 201. Should real estate agents be able to pick their clients? We're really going to break this down today. We're going to get started right now. That's us. All right, episode 201. Welcome back. Last week it was episode 200, which was a very great show.
Fantastic. Episode 201 is it's almost like the day after Christmas. It's like seeing the 201. It's like getting to the 200. I was like, for the past 10 weeks, I was like, it's gonna be so cool to see it. And then it's 201, and I'm like, now we just started the count over again.
I know.
Yeah.
Now the next one's 250. 250 is a good number.
250
feels far away.
250 is a
though,
good
right
number.
now.
Because it took us forever to get to 200.
We were slightly inconsistent
years?
with this for a chunk in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, do you think, how long will it take us to get to 400? Like 400 days?
If
we
we've
just
been
lock
doing
ourselves
this
in this room,
if we've been doing this for a little more than we've done this almost 5 years.
no,
and it took
6.
Is it almost 6?
Yeah, it's 2017.
Shoot, it's going to
Okay,
take us,
then yeah.
like,
No,
it doesn't compound faster, by the way.
It does not.
No, this
It'll
isn't
probably still
it's
take-
not the hockey stick curve.
It'll take more than 4 because I guarantee we're gonna. That's 50 a year, and we're gonna miss more than 2 a year.
Yeah.
I guarantee that.
Yeah.
100%.
Look, today we want to break down. There was a lawsuit that Douglas Elliman in New York was brought into, and we kind of wanted to navigate this in a
It's an interesting story.
interesting topic. I mean, we just want to just navigate around it, just to say, hey, as real estate agents, do we have the opportunity to really pick the type of clients, the clientele we would like to work with?
Yep.
Right? And so we're going to break that down today. But look, today's show is sponsored, like it always is, with Mortgage Mother Mike.
Mortgage
Pickleball master.
Pickleball Master, Mortgage Mike of the Mortgage Mike Group. Just go to mmgloans.com. If you want that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval, he's giving loans left and right now. Interest rates are a little higher, so you definitely want to have that mortgage broker out there shopping around, looking for the best rates, doing that interest rate buy down. He's really starting to slang that 3-2-1 buy down program again.
Slanging it.
So
Slang-a-lang.
he brought it up on my live yesterday.
Did he?
3-2-1's coming back.
Nice.
3-2-1. So get with him, mmgloans.com, and then get with Theron. I was just on a email thread with my sister-in-law, and they filed a claim with Armadillo.
Nice.
And it went smooth. It went great. Just go to armadillo.1/tour or /tour, TORE, and tell them that the crew from the Only Real Estate Podcast Worth Listening To sent you. If you're looking for that easy to understand, that simplistic one-page home warranty contract, they don't have any pre-existing conditions over
They
there.
have no pre-existing conditions. And you know who doesn't either? Because we just re-upped our insurance. Dana Wynn over at Homeward Property
Did we
Management.
really?
No pre-existing conditions on her.
Nice. Congratulations, Dana. Just go to homewarddfw.com and ask her to show you her health report.
You know the weirdest thing about owning, and this is not something I would have ever known about until we all got into this business together, and then Homeward started growing. I didn't know that like you needed to have a life insurance policy on the person who kind of is fronting the company, which is what Dana is. She's the
100%.
she's the front person. She does all the work. And like we're sitting here talking about this, and like I was just sharing this out and giggling to myself about how silly it is that we have an insurance policy on one of the humans in the company just in case something happened to her, because it would be a shit show.
It's a weird position.
What
You
would
don't
we
often
to
think
consider?
you'll find yourself in.
Yeah, which honestly, that should be a whole show in itself, because look, if you let's say that you start a real estate team or a business and you've got partnerships, and God forbid in any type of business relationship, it's not equal footing, right? Typically, someone has some stronger talents that may be driving that business to a more profitable region, or maybe they're the visionary.
Right.
And what happens if they die? Because that happens at times.
It does, and it can be a freaking mess.
Yeah. And if you're not prepared for that, that's why you need to go to tourinsurance.com.
We got you.
Yeah, that's coming next. But look, today's show, this one.
Tour Studios.
Yeah, tourstudios.com. Jesse's working with a whole bunch of great people.
Yeah,
he just picked up a daycare or something.
I am actually going to be a paying client of Tour Studios next Monday.
Shut the front door.
Because I have a past client of mine who I've done a ton of deals with, and she has just gotten into a whole new business realm, and her story is amazing, and I'm super excited. So I'm going to come in here and be the Nick of that situation, let her tell her story, and then chop it up, and I'm going to gift her some content.
Nice.
For her business.
Blowing up.
Yeah.
Tourstudios.com, and Jesse's shooting what is that, Jesse? Playground?
It's a play care.
Play care.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Adventure play.
Is this like the episodes of Park
Adventure
and Rec where the
Kids.
guy comes in and it's blammo?
Yeah. So, look, the show on this one is how we were trying to navigate this one, right? So,
Can we pull up the article in the background? This is one I
Or even pop it up on the screen if
super
Jesse-
don't want to have my information wrong.
yeah, this is not one we want to have it wrong, but Douglas Elliman broker was
Douglas
sued.
Elliman's a brokerage.
Yeah, Douglas Elliman is a luxury brokerage, really in the New York area, and they were sued over some confusion over a law about fair housing, right? And the person that brought the lawsuit was on Section 8 housing, a voucher, and this person wasn't getting response back, and then ultimately felt like that they were being discriminated on because of the
Section 8 status.
because of the Section 8 status.
Yeah.
And so there's really confusion over this law. And ultimately, when we were kind of breaking this down, like a lot of these are sensitive topics.
Yeah.
Usually when lawsuits happen, it's like when we broke down the NAR sexual harassment one.
Yes.
These are all very sensitive topics. Obviously, we're all male here.
Yes.
What?
And we want to make this as open and unbiased and really work on the sensitivity side of this. But as we kind of navigate this, one of the questions that came up as we're reading this kind of lawsuit and the confusion is that as
Is it possible for you to pop that article up?
as
Jesse, while
agents,
Nick's talking?
do we
like
have
on this. Oh, yeah.
yeah, as agents, are we allowed to pick our clients?
Yeah.
Not saying, if you've got a listing and saying, hey, I'm not, we're not going to accept, from a certain X, Y, and Z type of clientele offers, right? Obviously, we can't steer a red line or any of that.
Right.
But if you were to say, all right, I only want to work the luxury market.
Right, which is what this is kind of insinuating, right? This article that Jesse just popped up.
So let's say you only want to work with clients that are going to purchase a property or investments over $1 million.
Yeah.
Right.
And and everyone else that you turn down,
Right.
regardless of sex, race, whatever.
Right.
Are we as business owner and independent contractors, are we allowed to do that, or are we violating fair housing?
Well, and I'll kind of start off here a little bit just to see where this goes. Like, dude, we have the article right here. You can kind of read along. We'll pick some of this stuff out. As we're reading through this, though, there are some things in here that, when you're in an industry and you just kind of know the broken parts of the back end.
Yeah.
Right? Like this mentions that she reached out to a lot of agents through Douglas Elliman, and they didn't respond to her. Like, go put your name into Zillow right now, or like some other lead source, see how many agents actually call you back, right? Like, part of this is just real estate agents kind of shitty at their
There's
jobs.
an element to this
and
that
don't
is just
follow up with
the running
leads.
joke is agents suck at following up.
Because there were a couple of things I read that I was
Yeah.
like, dang, man, that just sounds like bad real estate agenting. And the New York City market specifically is such a bizarre market to even work in.
Right.
I don't even know how you figure out who your clientele is.
I think that speaks to maybe this story specifically, just along the lines of, there always being three sides to a story. Is there very well may have been discrimination of all those things, and that's terrible. I hope there wasn't. And being agents, it's always funny to hear like agents didn't respond. Like, yeah.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of the funny whole bit with agents is they're not responsive. So I think there's a combination of things that create all stories.
That's why Trek has put in a rule. The Texas Real Estate has put in a rule of what the actual response time is now for agents.
What is that? Wait,
I think it's like, is it 24 or 48 hours? I know they just
48
released
hours.
it.
48 hours.
Or what?
You have to respond to an offer or whatever. Like, it's no more gray area with that.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to write it in special provisions anymore? It's
well, you shouldn't been, because that's actually what I've
practicing law.
said, practicing law, but people still did it anyway.
Yeah, we have a lot of misunderstandings, I think, in our business around what is and is not practicing law.
There's a lot of misunderstandings, because look at this. This is number one, and something that just as we were reading this and really starting to say, hey, should we number one bring this topic up on the show? We're kind of going through this, and something that just hit me is, did you know, like here in our area, in the North Texas area, especially in the Frisco, Texas area, there's certain areas that have been blessed land by certain religions to say it's acceptable to move here from other countries. And so my understanding of it is I'm blessed to have someone on my team that's part of the MLS board. Okay. And if you have a client that only wants to look at houses in that area of blessed land, my understanding is that actually that's steering. And
really,
yes, because you're only
if they want to.
Yes. That's what I've been told on this.
I've represented
if the
clients.
Client wants to.
Yeah, I've represented clients.
If you have a client that doesn't want to live in a certain area because of
here's why I think legally and technically that's still steering, because in order for you to acknowledge their request, you have to acknowledge that you know of said neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
So like even you acknowledging and agreeing to the request is somehow complicit in acknowledging your own. I don't know, lack of ethics or something?
No, I think I understand the concept. My question would be, does the same apply to gated neighborhoods? I only want to live in a gated neighborhood.
No, because that has nothing to do with religion.
It does have to do with like personal security, though.
But personal security is not a protected
Now we're getting
class.
real existential. Nick, what is a religion?
I think
Are the Red Sox a religion?
I mean,
some would argue.
The Red Sox fans would say
what
they
if I
are.
only want to live?
I guarantee you there are a whole bunch of tax-exempt businesses out there that claim
wearing
this fucking like colander on my head makes me a religion, right?
But if you can't even look at how we're discussing this, and to say that, I mean, we've been in the industry a while now, that there's still confusion over that.
I think rightfully so. There's confusion. This isn't real estate specific, by the way. Like, there's confusion over many laws in many areas of society because laws and regulations don't adapt as fast as society evolves. So it's very difficult to keep up with those types of things, right?
Sure.
Like, crypto is probably the biggest, most prominent example of the last few years, like regulating cryptocurrency. We don't have a standard for that at all.
Well,
right?
The thing about this being a fair housing question, though, too, is like the article mentions all the information you need, but like one of the things that it says here, Jesse, if you could pull it up, it says that one of the things she did after unsuccessfully reaching out to people that she named in her lawsuit was that go down one more paragraph, right there. They failed to assist her, and then she reached out to the top brokers and agents in New York City, right? Like, I want to approach this gently because you should be able to reach out to anybody and expect a response. Right. I will also tell you, if you just go search, and if you knew volume-wise who the top 100 agents were in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I do not care anything about how you look at all, and you sent them an email saying, I need you to help me with at least, let's remove the Section 8 aspect of it. I need you to help me with at least. I guarantee you are hearing back from a very small percentage, if any, of those 100 people. And it's not because they're bad people or discriminatory. You're not their target business. That's the problem, where it's like, now as a brokerage, I don't think you're allowed to say that because your doors are open to all in some sense, right? But like they mentioned individual agents in here specifically, which I'm assuming are agents she reached out to that she never heard back from.
Yeah, and that is the part of this that I want to. This is an article, and who knows how accurate a lot of these things are. Is I want to understand how much of this is just generic journalism, like. Did she reach out to them specifically or like register on their website for their company or team? Because those are like, not that those are necessarily the super different things, but I'm also like, how much of that is like, this article makes it seem like a person was, people were actively ignoring a human being when I don't know, just the way this is written.
Well, the responses by the agents are like they
could,
don't even know it.
Yeah, it could also be that she filled out a form online and things like that. Which again, we want to get as much business as we possibly can. I can just also see how like if we're relying on like systems and things like that, things fall through the cracks too. So I just don't know how much of this is just writing.
She
for
did
writing's
know.
sake.
She did know some actual like things that she was told specifically, right? Like like that they didn't understand, or that they only specialize in luxury. Right, like
and they don't even know what Section 8 housing is. So there's certain, like, again, if you don't specialize in rentals, which I guess in New York a lot of them still specialize.
I feel like most of them probably are rental agents.
Maybe rental agents,
sales
well,
agents.
there's mostly rental agents in New York,
right? So and not knowing what Section 8 housing voucher is, look, that's government assistance.
Yes.
Sure.
Right. So at the same time, I can understand why the lawsuit is brought, because it seems like there's discrimination based on income. And from that, it's talking about violating fair housing. One of the brokers said that at this moment, I don't have any landlords or owners that are accepting Section 8, but I'll keep you in mind if anything pops up. Which is a response, by the way.
That's a legitimate response, and a response I've given to people on various things, right? I do see this. It looks like a fair housing attorney. I don't know where they're posted out of, but it gives a little bit of why this might be a violation. And it just says it's possible for an agent to have violated fair housing by not responding to an email if the expectation is that they would respond to other clients' inquiries. And this is actually where, like, I think it gets kind of meaty, and this is the gray area that starts to draw a little bit of a line, right? Because and this is how this client could have very easily done this, right? Like, if she reached out and got no response and then went and made a fake account and reached back out as $1 million buyer, and somebody reached back out to her, she 1,000% has a case.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if she did that same deal, right, and nobody reached out, now we're back to the beginning of the show, whereas the agent is shitty.
Let me ask you, does she have a case, though? Because is it truly violating if they're only representing, if you're branding and marketing yourself as a real estate professional or broker, right? You're not advertising a listing or a rental listing,
right,
that is being inquired on, and then you're going through the company's website and saying, "Hey, I'm looking for help to find a rental place. I have a Section 8 housing voucher, and I don't get responses." And or then obviously I get zero response, which what she experienced. And then if you created a fake dummy account and said, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a $3 million property,"
right?
Now, obviously, if you look at the type of revenue earned off of clientele, do you have a right as a business owner and a broker or agent to say, "This is my market"? And this is the type of income I want to earn, or the type of revenue per client I want to have.
I think there's another element to this that speaks directly to that mindset, that we can do kind of an apples to apples comparison. Because let's say you're a residential agent, you only do residential, right? And somebody comes to you and they want to do a commercial lease, and it's a banging commercial lease. It's awesome. It's going to pay you, once a year for every 5 years. It's going to be great, right? But you don't do that. If you're not able to handle it, normally your first move is to try and refer it. And whether or not, we talk from a legal standpoint around fair housing, all these types of things, we're just going off of one article, so who knows what the depth of the real conversations were, but it sounds like I can understand this person's frustration because she's got a lot of "I don't do that," but I can understand how it felt like no one was trying to help her.
Sure.
And I can't empathize because I've never been there with somebody who's trying to find affordable housing in New York City, of all places, who is up against the clock before her voucher expires. And when normally, if she had come with a request that wasn't in the wheelhouse of a lot of those agents, at least one of them would have said, "But I know someone who does that. Let me refer you." And so I can understand the sadness and frustration of somebody who feels like people are just saying no. Now, whether or not that translates to any sort of legal standing, I have no idea. I do understand that frustration because we're talking about agents choosing their clients, which I think they're well within their rights to do. And agents usually want to try to make that money. And usually if you can refer a solid lead, you're going to do that. So I can understand this person's frustration.
And if you read this article, this is from The Real Deal. And if you continue reading on in the article, it does say that, you know, this person did have communication with other agents though, and it varied. And so part of the communications was that that one of the agents responded back with, yes, landlords do accept Section 8 housing. I do not currently have any of these apartments. What are you willing to spend in what area?
I feel like if I sent that response back to somebody, there's no reason that you would be on the hook for
By the
anything,
way,
right?
that email...
It's a very reasonable response.
By the way, the person that filed this lawsuit did not respond to that email.
Yes. But I do think, I can't tell if that was one of the agents' name because they list all of these agents up there, or at least some of the agents that have been named. Look, I have a couple of issues with the fundamental lawsuit itself. Like,
Yes.
it feels a little bit like somebody kind of knew what they were doing and was trying to piss people off a little bit. There's certainly a line in that article where the plaintiff even states like that they just couldn't find a new place, so they had to stay in the same dilapidated place they were in. That's a little bit of just being an adult, right? Like if other people can't help you solve your problems, you need to go and keep finding an avenue to solve your problems. I've been in Section 8 groups and investor groups and rental groups here in DFW, and it is. You see a lot of people in there with Section 8 vouchers, and it is difficult to find places. I understand that part, right? There are also multiple avenues that aren't just blindly reaching out to people who aren't responding to you, and then at the end of the day being like, well, nobody responded back to me, so I guess I'm just pissed off now. Like, there's some personal accountability in figuring your own shit out, too.
And I don't disagree with that. I think that actually
I'm just
brings
more
up
annoyed by the lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that actually brings up a really interesting conversation is we've all been doing this for a very long time. I admit to myself, I've never run across this situation, and I certainly haven't had the opportunity or even ever been asked to really work with a lot of Section 8 clients. Are we missing a massive gap in some of our focus as an industry? Like, it seems pretty hard. There's no good conduits for finding affordable housing, especially with government assistance. Like, it's something that we don't place a lot of focus on as an industry.
Affordable housing is 1,000% an issue.
It is. Well,
Yeah,
affordable housing is, but I'm talking about
a
we
rental
kind of rely on really a vague government regulation that doesn't a lot of times even make a lot of sense, and our ability to understand it to like help people. Like, is that one of the biggest problems that we're discovering? Just not with this article and the lawsuit and things like that, but like, should these things ever be a problem? Because shouldn't it be so much easier to find Section 8 housing if that's what you need?
You would think there would be some central, like, I've got to imagine as a landlord, here's what I think the real issue is. I think there are very few landlords who offer Section 8 housing because that's their decision on their property, right? And then the central database for it is obviously not that great because it seems like to have
There
a Section
is
8,
none.
you'd have to register with some government entity, don't you?
Don't you? Or when you own Section 8, you have to at least register with the state, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So how is there not
Some conduit where people can go and look.
Yes.
Now, I understand that would rely on each landlord saying when their lease is up and all this other stuff. But again, to get paid on Section 8, I thought you had to do some government hoops.
I agree. You do. As a landlord, you have to be approved for the
check
program and all that
comes from
type
the
of stuff. So, I mean, I guess that's maybe what should be focusing on with this whole lawsuit is, yes, this person, who knows if they were trying to kind of knew what they were doing or whatever. Regardless, like, this never should be a problem.
It seems like there should be.
So in Texas, unlike many other states, Texas allows landlords to reject renters who receive housing vouchers. Now, in other states, that's different. Like in Minnesota, it's illegal to refuse to rent to someone because they receive public assistance, although a landlord may, however, set income requirements that would tend to rule out public assistance recipients, provided that the requirements apply equally to every applicant regardless of their income.
Right.
Which that is very standard rental. Like, we have to abide by that with Homeward. In the sense that we can't offer something to somebody that we're not offering to somebody else. Right. Yes.
Now here's what I don't understand, because so if we go back to that lawsuit and the agents are responding, I don't have any apartments or listings that match, right? But if we look at this, can a landlord refuse Section 8 housing in New York State? It's illegal to be denied a housing opportunity because of a lawful source of income. So lawful source of income includes income from Social Security or any form of federal, state, or local public assistance, including Section 8 housing vouchers.
Yeah. I think this goes to two maybe ways then. One, then if that is the case, then this is almost discrimination just by lack of education. How many agents even know that? right? How many agents really even understand the laws and regulations that you can't turn away tenants because they're on public assistance? If I'm not educated on that and I have no idea, that's where you get the response of like, I don't do that. That's not my forte or whatever. Like, we just don't do a very good job of educating and creating a more seamless way of people that need assistance finding affordable housing for them to get it.
Well, voucher doesn't, and when you hear voucher, you don't think of income, right? And
right.
And by the way, like Harvey just put, it should be fair housing violation. Vouchers are just another form of income. By the way, in the state of Texas, the landlord has the opportunity to reject Section 8 housing vouchers.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with income base either.
Right.
So they have the right to do so in Texas. Now, New York, you're not allowed to because that is a form of income.
And I would only challenge the fair housing violation there only because I don't know if you can knowingly commit a violation that you didn't know you were committing. I mean, I guess yes, legally on paper, but I'm just wondering how much of this is actually agents. Like I said before, I think that some of this is discrimination in the sense that no one actually tried to help this person with a referral or anything like that. So I see that part.
Because I guarantee if it was $5 million,
bro, you would have referred that shit to somebody.
Well, $5 million, they would have responded.
They would have responded,
Yeah,
and if it was, like it's in Hoboken and you don't know anything about that, they would find an agent and get that 30% referral fee and figure that out. I believe that part absolutely could be discriminatory.
Here's the crazy part.
I just also wonder how much is education.
In New York, my understanding, because I have family that lives there, my understanding is that that the way agents get paid on rentals is the entire rental lease, almost commercial style. So they get paid whatever the total amount of that rental, whether it's 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah.
Let's call it $20,000. They're paid a commission off of the $20,000, not off the first month.
I just know there are a lot of agents in New York City that only do rentals and still make fantastic money.
It seems like like the majority of the agents would only be able to do rentals. I just can't imagine there's just a ton of buyers that can afford those prices, especially like the Manhattan part of New York City, especially.
Yeah, 100%, and only so many places even come up for sale.
And so much of this, I mean, and Nick just pulling that up does have to do with just local politics, right? Like your state's kind of what they've decided. This is a lawsuit that probably would get smashed pretty hard here in Texas pretty quickly.
Well, it wouldn't
exist in the first place.
I mean, because
wouldn't.
Landlords have the right to reject you.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the lawsuit. The lawsuit is agents not responding to a client because they didn't feel that.
Well, the lawsuit is a violation of fair
So-
housing. It's a customer, by the way.
Yeah, it's a customer. It's not a client.
Whatever. I think the lawsuit is around agents were not being responsive the way they would have been for any other potential customer.
Sure.
Not against landlords.
And look, I will say in this person's defense, that's gonna be pretty easy to prove, right?
It is.
Now,
and
I
it's
don't
frustrating.
think-
I would be super frustrated if I was in this situation.
It would be incredibly frustrating. I think it's gonna be super easy for them to prove that. I still can't see the internal workings of this where you can prove that.
Here's
right?
the thing.
Like, that's the hard thing.
Well, and I mean, Katie made an interesting comment there. And I say interesting because we want to try to see the perspectives here. Like, I don't love the way that this whole thing seems to have unfolded, right? I also think I can try to understand a perspective of if somebody feels like they're not being, like no one's trying to help them, what lengths would you go to try to prove that? You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about her reach, and you made a point before, which I think is a valid point around, if she reached out to the top brokers in New York City, which they probably wouldn't handle what is probably a relatively small lease income-wise. I get that, right?
We get bent out of shape about it.
And was that your first stop on the tour?
Yeah.
Meaning, like, did you do that to prove a point because for X amount of time, you were not being responded to by people that are probably in that wheelhouse as far as...
Well, and it does say that. It says that she reached out to people and was not responded to,
So-
and then reached out to a bunch of other people.
So it's kind of like, at some point, what do you need to do to make some noise?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be super judgmental about the entrapment, quote-unquote, part, because at some point, you need to run things up the ladder to be heard.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
on the other shoe, though, she did get responses back, right?
That is
so
fair.
there is that. All right, so you emailed 20 people, and let's just hypothetically say 6 or 7 responded. Why are you not working with one of those 6 or 7? We're focusing on the 13 to 14 that didn't respond.
Agreed. And look, when we talk about suing and lawsuits, like I have no idea about that. I'm not trying to say there's any sort of precedent for anything. I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of a very frustrated person and understand how they would handle things, whether or not there's a legal precedent behind any of this. that's way above my pay grade.
It is, and again, being in a business friendly state like Texas, we there's some things that are a little bit easier for us to work around. But this is, I've thought about this type of stuff before. Like, where do you draw the line in your business, right? Because I will say no to people, but it's typically because I can't stand them, right? Like I fire clients because I just personally don't like you, and I don't care about money enough to hang out with somebody I dislike, right?
Yeah,
like
you're just a dick.
Yeah, so like I don't worry.
Is he the dick or the
I don't know. It
Oh,
depends
bro,
on. I haven't met the clients he's
It's
fired.
been both ways. I guarantee. There have been some of them that have been like, thank God that guy fired us. I get that part of it. I also, I know the fair housing rules. I understand them well enough, or the Section 8 stuff well enough to give somebody some direction, but I don't know if I would say much different than some of these other people said, right? Yeah. And maybe I'm outing myself by it, but I think as real estate agents, we have to be honest. Like, if you get somebody who calls you today about a valuation on their house they want to sell, or somebody that reaches out to you because they are looking to lease something, let's take the Section 8 part, just like, dude, you're going to prioritize that in the way that is most obvious.
Of course.
Of
course.
Yeah. To your point, the not reaching out is where these agents got themselves in trouble. Yes. And I think the lesson in this for agents, you should have some sort of at least question that you respond to every single person with, right? If nothing else, to cover your own ass, but more importantly, because you don't really look. I sold a $3.25 million property to a lady who acquired on a $500,000.
Bragging.
I did, and that turned into almost $7 million more. But it was initially a $500,000 inquiry.
Yeah.
Now, I would have responded to that either way.
Right.
But my point is, it was way different than it appeared on the surface, and that's not the first time that's happened.
Well, I think that's actually a good actionable lesson here, right? Like, relationships are relationships, and this is a relationship-based business, and so you should always be trying to build as many relationships as you can. When we talk about the legal standing inside of things, we talk about not responding and all of that type of stuff, and that's where the agents got themselves in trouble and things like that. I'd prefer to not even look at this through a legal standpoint. I think that there's a gap in, obviously, this industry, society in general, and this is kind of a story of empathy. And that's the way that I see this, is if this person made more money, someone would have not only responded, but referred if it wasn't their wheelhouse or whatever. And whether or not that's legally one thing or another, I have no idea. But this is just the exact same thing as the person who says, just give me a call if you need anything. I'm always here for you. And you're like, can you drive me to the airport? And they're like,
Ice-T has a really great.
I'm super busy that day.
Ice-T has a great thing about driving.
We tend to have a lot of paper empathy for other people, and that's frustrating.
And to Brian's point, if we go to the comment section, Katie literally already found the resource just in the span of this show. Like, where did she say the CIHNY or NYCHA? Like, there you go, boom. So, I mean, obviously, like, that's like right there.
So there's some resources.
Yeah, we had somebody in Plano, Texas, find one resource in New York,
right?
And an agent could have done that.
Okay,
that agent could have done that. Simple Google search.
An agent could have helped.
An agent could have sent that along and been like, "Why don't you check here and let me know what you find?"
That's kind of not to say there's legal standing there or whatever. I just think from a professionalism standpoint, that's the thing that bothers me about this story.
I agree.
No, 100%. I agree with you. And I mean, what other sensitive topics should we cover before Brian has to get out of here? What would you say? What about this one?
Oh, geez.
Real estate agent who chugged milk out of the carton at a client's house fined $15,000.
Dude,
good.
Canadian people are so weird. I don't know what. If you're in Canada, thank you for listening. What are y'all doing up there?
Well,
why y'all drinking milk out of each other's fridges?
Real estate agent had been fined $15,000 after he was caught chugging milk from a carton. Not even pouring a glass. He's just going straight.
Oh, yeah.
He's just raw dogging it.
Yeah, straight carton.
Like, why would you think that's okay? Like, I get it. Sometimes there's bathroom situations that erupt when you're in somebody's house, figuratively and
that's why toilets
literally
are there, man.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
But like going in somebody's I would never dream of opening drawers. Right?
Yeah.
Like, first off, the only reason I've ever opened a fridge is when I'm curious if somebody actually lives here. It's like that in-between space. And you're like, is this a divorced man or is this staged?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm opening the fridge to see if there's food.
Yes.
Right? And if there's, you know what I mean? Never in a million years would I snag any. I'm not even comfortable taking the water bottles they leave out for us.
Did you see the video of it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the biggest problem I have with this whole thing is like, who is chugging milk like that? Dude, straight up chugs like 3 gulps.
I'm
He,
happy
like,
with him being fined just for being
so
too stupid
weird.
to look around for cameras.
Yeah.
Like just first off, just your basic criminality mindset is terrible.
Yeah.
You didn't
Like
even
the
look around to
worst
see if you
burglar
could get
ever.
busted. Like you just look around, see if there's like a Nest camera anywhere in the house.
This is his statement.
Oh God, of course.
I've never done this kind of thing before,
course
nor
he
will I ever behave in this way again. He said in the statement.
And here's the thing: is as much as I am appalled because he's such an idiot, also that statement is over the top. I've never done anything like this, and I won't again. Like you mean you're not going to go in people's houses and drink their drinks? Awesome. You're definitely going to chug milk again, though, because
Yeah, that's a habit you just have.
you don't
right?
just do that.
I
do drink out of the containers, not anymore.
I've never
but I used
done
to.
that. I feel like you build up to that. I feel like you start
Yeah.
doing other stuff.
Yeah.
You start by touching people's picture frames, and then you start moving forks into different drawers, and then eventually years later you're just.
Do you
chugging
not
milk
walk
out of the
through
fridge.
do you not walk through the houses? Like I walk through it and I put my hands like right here. I just don't touch anything.
I'm not quite that concerned because I'm like, I'm turning on lights and open. Like my clients
Sure,
sometimes
turn
will go in a
lights
room
on.
and they're like, they didn't even like open the bathroom door. I'm like, hey, look in here, man. Like, where the hell are you going? Like,
Yeah, I mean, look, I do that, but at the same time, I'm just
I don't
so
touch
over the
anybody's
top
stuff.
about like even lingering too long in the closets and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like
I do always feel like I'm being watched.
yes,
now
100%.
I would prefer to be watched because here's the
Yeah.
thing: is I'm doing the right thing in there.
Yeah.
Point all your cameras at me the whole time. That way, if something goes wrong, you know it wasn't my ass.
There was a whole thing about this with like traffic cameras being able to. Now they went away with the speeding thing, but like traffic cameras being able to like be used as court evidence and things like this, like a while back. And they're like, "Oh, that's like a violation of privacy or whatever." And
Well,
my head, I was like, "I'm trying so hard not to do illegal things every day. I'm not doing like I would really rather have the proof."
I got in this fight
If
with
we
my
get
dad.
into a minority report situation, I need all my life to be on camera.
I got in this fight with my dad after September 11th, and they did the Patriot
Patriot Act.
and he was just, appalled. Appalled. And of course, I'm much younger at the time too, so like I'm not as quite as tuned into things. And I'm just sitting there like, well, and my dad's got some vices, and so I was like, well, if you weren't doing anything wrong, you wouldn't have anything to worry about. Like that was
Right.
for 2 hours, just badgering him with that response, just frustrating him to no end.
now Kelderman doesn't want anybody watching him.
What? I don't really care. I do all my stuff, and like, look, I don't have anything. Like, all of my debauchery and bullshit is out there. So, like,
Well, don't you remember
whatever.
that story, Josh Flagg from $1 Million Listing for stealing paintings? I think it was.
Yeah,
I think some people just like to
remember
take
this.
stuff. Like I think some
Oh,
of
it's a
this
rush,
is,
I think.
Yeah, I think some of this is just like a little bit of these mental illness things that we all kind of struggle with. Like, like granted, stealing is not socially acceptable, but people have a lot of dumb idiosyncrasies that we find gross and or weird, right? Like that they just do that they don't even think about. And I've known a couple people who just they don't want to steal anything expensive and they don't want to hurt anybody. They just want to. The Russia just taking this little and taking that little, right?
Winona
Like-
Ryder's got money, bro.
Yeah,
Right?
she just likes to steal scarves.
Dude, you feel like you reach a certain level of society where there's no adrenaline anymore.
You just try and get caught doing something.
100%. You want to feel normal.
No,
Did you guys see the people doing it on the plane?
No.
They opened up the plane door.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
The
like
bathroom door or
yeah,
what?
they're doing it in the
Oh,
bathroom,
no.
and
And they got in
the
trouble
flight
for
attendant
that.
opens the door, and like people saw it, like and they
geez.
didn't stop right away.
I think that's one of those things that looks funny when it happens in a movie, but is super not funny when it happens.
Dude,
in
could
real
you
life.
imagine having to sit on a plane as that person or next to that person? Like, and first off, how do you not stop? We're all grown-ups. Like, you know when the door opens, there is a breeze that hits your naked ass.
Oh, yeah.
That implies that you are no longer
Yeah.
alone. Like, how did they just, like, not... I think I'd be a little pop to do that in the first place.
Absolutely, you're drunk. But also, I wonder how far into the flight they were. Because what is it like to have to go back to your seat knowing you're super getting arrested?
You
when
hope
fly
you're just
out?
sitting next to a bunch of dudes on their way to spring break that are just high-fiving the
that are
shit
just
out of
super
you.
revved up about it.
Let me ask
You're
you.
just like, I'm going to the jail for the dumbest thing, and I got 2.5 hours on the way to Milwaukee
First
to
off-
think about it.
First off, Kelderman, you and I are 6'3".
Oh, dude, I can barely fit in the
How
bathroom by
small
myself.
were these people? Because
Yes.
I'm a pretty tiny dude. I don't see it working.
I don't understand. I think
Yeah.
you got to get one of those Virgin flights and get the because Richard Branson's got the whole
luxury,
bedroom set up
yeah.
for you to do this.
Yes.
That's the move.
But I mean, how often does that happen in houses? By the way.
Oh,
I know.
I know a Dallas
people.
agent. I know a Dallas
people
agent from
that-
back in the
yeah.
day who used to all kinds of things at his
Yeah.
open
Talk
After the
houses.
show, really? At open
his
houses?
open houses.
Oh, that's risky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I know people was like, oh, the vacant, especially during the Great Recession when they were
Yeah.
all foreclosed on. They would just go find foreclosed houses. And,
Look, if you got a public kink, I mean
That's
that fits the bill.
no, again, I'm always even back in 08, 09 when cameras weren't as easily accessible.
Yes.
I was like, it's foreclosed, but I know the bank put cameras in
I
here.
don't
Yeah,
even
right?
understand how people still have the stones to steal packages off their people's porches.
That is a crazy.
How do you have the nuts to do that
Talk about like
anymore?
impulse klepto stuff because you don't even know what you're stealing.
You don't even know what you're stealing.
Like I've always had this billionaire idea of just continuously ordering just packing peanuts and having them shipped to my door every day just to see if people will steal them and realize there's nothing in the box.
Heather has ordered. I think it's something for the lake house, and it's I think it's heavy, and it's been on our front porch for over a month. And I'm like, these people steal they can literally see it. Why are they not stealing this?
Well, Facebook Reels will make you think that every package in America has a 30-second lifespan
Yes.
before it gets stolen.
That or the Nextdoor app, because the Nextdoor app,
the guy drives off and somebody else just drives up.
Exactly. Like if you don't pick that thing up,
They're just
within
following
2
the
minutes-
Amazon truck around.
yeah.
He doesn't have a clue.
Exactly.
Like, look, the Nextdoor app is either someone's always at the wrong house trying to break in,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
post the picture of some drunk dude.
Yep.
Those are pretty
That
funny too.
someone's always shooting guns off when it's not,
always.
Yes.
right? Or
guys hear the
that,
gunshots?
or that someone's soliciting without having the right proper permit.
I left the
Yeah.
Nextdoor app for 2 reasons. One, I was frustrated by the humans who were in there. It is just Karen Central all day
where
long.
they hang out. That's their
And because you
playground.
can't advertise on it, right? Like you can if you pay, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to kind of like
Yeah.
do this nicey nice, like I'm going to come from contribution all the time, and then just comment on these things. And then I see other agents doing it, and I'm like, bro,
You're so lame.
Yeah.
you don't sell shit. I'm leaving this stupid group.
Yeah. And Matt's the one over there trolling. He's the Karen of the
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I just sit in there and just watch everybody else drive.
Yeah. We agreed, Harvey. Brian's billionaire idea needs to come back.
Maybe we'll do a reverse of the exact thing I did, and I'll just start shipping people packages, but there's nothing in them. People just get so
actually would
people
be
get so excited when a random package shows up. And they forgot.
Yes.
They're like, I got drunk and I ordered something, and they're so excited, and then you get it, and it's literally just a paperweight weighing the box down to make you think it's heavy.
I'll say this because I don't really care, and I don't have anybody to answer to anymore. So my neighbor across the street the other day got a package that was intended for me.
Oh,
That he opened up and was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And it happened to be the day after his birthday. Like all these weird series of events.
Oh, no.
And then the fictitious name that was on the package weirdly happened to be his first name and his son's first name. So
my
he
gosh.
thought somebody who was sending him this care package, and it was lots of goodies.
Oh my
and so he
gosh.
broke him out and started like going to town. And then about 30 minutes into this, realizes that it's mine and comes walking across the street at this point. On cloud nine,
not in the shape to be
on
walking across
cloud
the
nine,
street.
bro.
Oh my gosh.
Walks across the street with this box of stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I think I got a package for you." And I was like, "Dude, that was supposed to be here 3 days ago." I was flipping the fuck out.
by the way, put some clothes on.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there and he's chilling and he's laughing and he's so excited and he's like, "I thought somebody had sent me something." He's like, "This was the best birthday ever." He was so stoked.
I bet.
Yeah, he was so stoked. That's more of one of Brian's billionaire
Yes.
ideas. Spend money on something that somebody would enjoy and then
Right.
send it to him and then be like, "No, give me that back. It's mine."
Yeah, yeah.
That is
Yeah,
hysterical.
that is a billionaire idea. It's like, that, joke's on you. That's really
Yeah.
for me.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
You know who doesn't do that? Who doesn't take it back? Mortgage Mike.
He doesn't.
He doesn't issue loans, close on it, and then ask you to
Once
give
he
the
gives
money
you that
back.
stamp,
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
stamped for life.
Yeah. MMG. It's just the tramp stamp.
The tramp stamp.
The Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. He just puts it right there on the lower back.
Yeah, or the shoulder of some meathead dude.
We should.
And it's a tribal armband with like a stamp in the middle.
You
of
know
it.
what we should do? We should get Mortgage Mike on here.
Okay.
And if he gets enough business from the show or from our Facebook group, the only real estate group we're being a part of, he should agree to get the Mortgage Mike stamp of approval as a tramp stamp.
I think that would
I
be
think he's
cool.
going to set the bar pretty high, but that's some sort of
No, we
motivation
set the
for
bar.
us.
We
Yeah,
set
yeah.
the bar.
Okay.
Like one
Yeah.
loan. Harvey, can you send that one loan to Mortgage
I
Mike?
think he's terrible at betting lately, though, because I saw his bet pay off for football the other day, and I was dying.
Not on the
laughing.
hot streak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost that with Katie Gage, and now he's
So
a Green
great.
Bay Packers fan.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I support the Mortgage Mike stamp of approval tramp stamp.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know who else we support? Theron Smith and his big old yellow school bus over at armadillo.one /tour.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. I'm just trying to get the segues going.
Armadillo dog. You're not very good at that. His
I know, that was
big
better.
old yellow school.
Big old yellow school.
That big old armadillo. That hard
There we go.
shell protection.
There you go.
Right? Armadillo.one /tour. TORE. Ask them to cover you with his contracts.
This contract.
It is home warranty.
Now make sure you're hitting up Dana Wynn over at homeworddfw.com. If you want to send us a referral, homeworddfw/realtors, we will make sure that we get you paid.
And I will let everybody know how my first experience with Tor Studios goes next week,
Yay.
and whether or not you should hire Jesse.
Boom.
5 stars only.
5 stars only. 201 in the books, boys.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Get us out of here.
On our way to more.
Yep.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Maybe.
Bye.
Jesus.
We messed it up.
Oh, I messed it up.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one, then go to that one. Thanks.